All right, hi everybody, and welcome back to Union Public House, and welcome to a Thursday night with head coach Tommy Lloyd. Great to have you along. This is our first show of the season. We appreciate everybody coming out tonight. We're outdoors. I mean, why not? I mean, that's why we live in Arizona.
81 degrees driving home today.
Absolutely gorgeous. Just a quick note here. We are starting on Thursday night. Next week we're going to be here on Wednesday night. Then we'll be off for the holidays, and then Thursday nights, every Thursday night, starting on January 8th through the end of the regular season. So just want to make sure your calendars are all in sync and ready to go.
Do we have a game next Thursday?
We do not. I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
I just do what I'm told. So they said,
Same here.
Yep, they said come back next Wednesday, so I'm coming back next Wednesday. All right, Coach, well, nice start to the season, 8-0, and playing really well. What do you like best?
Well, first off, it's great to be out here with all of our support. Thank you guys for coming. We appreciate you. Thank Grant. He runs the union here, and a small-known fact: Grant's my neighbor. So he provides an amazing venue, and it's just great. I mean, this show. I mean, you and me talking might be pretty boring.
Mm-hmm.
But it's about bringing people together and bringing people in the community together, and so I really value the show for that. So I'm thankful for everyone being here. We got our friends from the Humanities department right out here in the middle today.
Yep.
So they're special guests. We have our corporate sponsor group, ACE. They're here and brought a bunch of people today, and we got some of our development people that brought some donors. So just a real cool environment, and what's really special about Arizona basketball brings the community of Tucson together, and I'm always happy to be a part of that.
And AP, the head of the Humanities Department, is
Yes.
going to be up here in a little bit. Fascinating. I had a chance to meet him for the first time a little while ago. He's got a great background, great story, so we look forward to that coming up later.
He's become a good friend of mine, and what's really cool about AP is he's driven and he's focused, and he's a forward thinker, so I think you guys are going to enjoy hearing from him.
All right. Well, you mentioned Grant, the owner here, who now we find out is your neighbor. Has he complained about the pickleball court at all?
No, just about my other neighbor, Jack Murphy. That's the only guy he's complaining about. Everything else is good.
Well, Murph probably plays his music too loud. That's probably the only thing.
I don't even know. Actually, Murph does listen to music. Okay. He loves Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan's his guy. And actually, I take that back. Murph, he's probably been to more concerts than anybody. I mean, that guy will drive up to Phoenix on a random Wednesday or Tuesday night to go watch whoever all the time. I don't know where he gets the energy.
Okay. Well, he's a fascinating man. We've known him for a long time.
He's self-proclaimed Renaissance man.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, he and your staff have done a great job so far this year. Yeah. So let's talk about being 8-0. And, again, what do you like best about your team right now?
We're in the thick of it. It's a process, and what I love most is we have an incredible challenge this week. We're playing an Alabama team that has a real identity, and anytime you play a team that has a conviction to an identity, I mean, they're dangerous, and we know how much effort and energy it's going to take to compete, but we also have to tap into our endurance because they play a frenetic style, over 40 minutes, and our guys are going to have to lock into that, especially in a hostile environment. So, for me, I like that about our team, the challenge ahead. I'm not great at kind of reminiscing and going through the things. I think our journey's just starting, and I keep reminding myself, like, and I guess this could be for life, but especially for basketball. You don't know what your team looks like in 2 weeks. So many things can happen that you just got to stay steady. You got to stay the course, and I know everyone gets excited when you kind of stacked a few big wins like that, but I think on the inside, the main thing is just staying steady. And then what are you going to do if rough water hits? What are you going to do if you lose momentum? I mean, do you have enough character to push through and regain it? So that's the stuff I'm focused on. It's not too fun, not too sexy. But obviously, I love this team. I love the young men on the team. I think our staff's done a really good job not only putting together the team, but kind of managing and procuring and kind of developing the talent within the team.
All right, so I don't want to go back too far, but I did want to mention last year because you just brought up an interesting point, and that's about staying the course. And, of course, it's a long season. Last year you weren't 8-0, but your team stayed the course, and it worked out very well in the end. Can that blueprint be the same again this season?
Well, of course it can, but it can also go the other way. I mean, I think one of the things that's getting a lot of attention, at least in college basketball, is, and I don't talk about other teams a lot, but just to kind of maybe draw a parallel is, Kentucky. Obviously Kentucky's got off to a tough start, and I think they're 4-4 or 5-4. We were 4-5 last year, and so you don't take this stuff for granted, and none of us are owed anything. You got to go out and you got to earn everything, and so I just want to stay the course, and I think if we do that, this team has a lot of potential to continue to get better. But we've really talked a lot this year about kind of pouring into a growth mindset, and I know that's not fun. Everyone wants to hear all these sexier things and cool things and these great anecdotes, but it's really not. It's just a steady approach and a great group of young men and a good staff doing it.
All right, I want to go back a couple weeks ago after your team had played some tough road games in some different venues back and forth across the country, and you had this period of time here at home where you have these 3 games at home. And I know it wasn't the games, it was what your team could accomplish in practice over these last couple of weeks. Any way to gauge what you've seen from them in that period?
Well, I think we've gotten better over the past couple goal to get through that early stretch of schedule and, find a way to, attack a process, get a result, and then get on to the next one. And then you had a little more space in between games and more times to practice. So we really kind of, stripped it back down to the bolts and tried to build it back up. But this time, maybe the players have a little deeper understanding because of, good experiences and bad experiences of what works and what doesn't work. And so, it was a great couple weeks. And obviously, Saturday's going to be a big indicator of kind of how far we've come. And I did go back and watch some of our previous games, or at least some clips from some games, just to see how we were moving at both ends of the court. And I feel like, we've gotten better. I mean, I feel like we're a lot better team than play the team that played in LA against UCLA that day. And to me, that's a good feeling as a coach to know that we're getting better and the players are learning from their experiences.
All right. Cats in the Crimson Tide Saturday in Birmingham. That game's going to tip off at 7:30 Arizona time. Our radio broadcast at 7 o'clock. Tonight we're at Union Public House with head coach Tommy Lloyd. More coming up in a moment. This is Wildcat Basketball from Arizona Sports Enterprises. All right, welcome back to the Tommy Lloyd Radio Show, presented by West Coast Trial Lawyers. We're here for our first Thursday show of the season. Next Wednesday, and then back January 8th to start our Thursday schedule. Also want to remind everybody that the Wildcats do have one more game this month that is not at McHale Center, and that's going to be up in Phoenix. This is a place the Wildcats have been before, of course. It's now called Mortgage Matchup Center. It's the home of the Phoenix Suns. Arizona San Diego State coming up on December 20th, and tickets are available for that. It's a doubleheader. Colorado and Stanford are playing the first game if you want to scout the Colorado and see what Stanford's up to. So get your tickets through the McHale Center ticket office or Ticketmaster. You can also go to HOFseries.com. That's December 20th up in Phoenix, Arizona, and San Diego State. We look forward to that one. But first up, of course, Alabama coming up this week. All right, I know a lot of talk, Coach, about your freshmen, and they've all done an outstanding job early in the season. How do you when you get that many guys, 4 players that you're counting on a lot, when did you kind of see the light come on at some point, or really has it been that way since they arrived on campus?
Well, I mean, they've shown steady progress, their time with us. And, obviously we know how talented they are. We're in the business of evaluating talent, so you can see, what type of talent they have. And then, we're also around them every day, so we know the type of character they have. And, I still think there's a lot of room for those guys to grow, and I think they're doing great. I'm really happy, but, I'm seeing stuff every day in practice that we're making progress. And it's just important for me to keep in mind that they are young and they are getting kind of going through this for the first time. But what we got to think about, one thing we talk about a lot within the program is this compound effect. And, obviously compound interest, all that stuff's great. We all want that in our life. And our investments and everything, but I think you also have it in development of people, and so we got to keep pouring into those guys and just stacking good days, dealing with tough days, learning, and then eventually, there's going to be some big jumps in there. But I'm seeing it from all those guys. I mean, I think they've all kind of gone through that growth, and I'm seeing a couple guys, get closer to really getting ready to take off. So it's exciting stuff.
All right, well, when you recruit players, of course, obviously you want talented players with great basketball IQ, but how important is their character when you recruit them?
Oh, it's incredibly. I mean, it's everything, talent without character, it's going to be a crapshoot. So character is just the foundation of everything. It allows you to be a great teammate. It allows you to deal with, tough times. It allows you, to work yourself through a tough stretch and come out the other side and be better for it. So it's really important, and they're all young people. We've all had teenagers, raised teenagers. We know that's can be a tough time in your life. But imagine your teenager being a kind of quote unquote a prodigy, of some sort, where they have an elite talent at something and there's a bright future ahead for them. But it's not easy. And it does. It's nothing is given once you start the climb, and so it's fun to help them on the journey, it's something that I really enjoy doing. It's one of the reasons I really enjoy coaching college basketball. Is just I think it's a really cool spot in these kids' lives, and to help them try to aspire for not only team greatness but some individual greatness.
You've got a couple coaching changes, but I want to ask you about two guys. Evan Manning, who was elevated to an assistant coaching position. He's been with the program, of course, as an ops guy. Great to see him move up. I want you to just talk about him a bit. And also a young man named Liam Lloyd. That's right.
Yeah.
That's
and Brandon Chappelle.
And Brandon,
we have, Brandon comes to us from Texas. Coach Rob. Steve Robinson's a great man and a great friend of mine, and it was time for him to retire and go back closer to home and be by his kids and his grandkids. So I really, really appreciate everything he did, the past 4 years to really help us get this thing kick-started. So we replaced him with Brandon, and Brandon is, I know he's super social. I'm sure he'll come to a few of these shows. He's got an ability to chat everybody up, and he does it authentically and with great enthusiasm. He's got a great basketball mind and a great basketball background, and he's an eager learner and a selfless guy. So he's just, he's got a lot of great attributes that allow him to be a great assistant coach, and I think he's going to continue to develop and really turn into a special coach. Evan Manning, Evan's been with us a long time, and one of the greatest things about Evan is, Evan's such a good guy and so easy to be around and just all about the team. I don't think that many people realize, that, Evan's dad was the number one pick in the NBA draft, I think in 1988. A guy named Danny Manning, so a lot of people don't know that about Evan because Evan's pretty low key about everything. But Evan, I just really love Evan's steadiness, and Evan is he welcomed his first child, a son, into the world last week. So
wow.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Liam, obviously he's my son, and he hung up the playing shoes, and I think he's really enjoying just being on the other side and kind of figuring out what this coaching thing looks like. And Liam's got a lot of things going on in his young life. He's got a young son who I think today, he was his first full practice day. He got 1.5. He was able to kind of get through his first full practice today. Luca was there, and there and running around, putting basketballs on the rack and watching cartoons and trying to stay out of the way. So that was a bunch of fun having him around, and Liam and Hallie.
All right, welcome back to the Tommy Lloyd Radio Show, presented by West Coast Trial Lawyers. Arizona and Alabama coming up on Saturday. It is a quote-unquote neutral site game. It really isn't. It's in Birmingham, but this is a return from the game 2 years ago when Arizona and Alabama played up in Phoenix. So we were playing at the Legacy Center, which is got some great history in terms of Arizona basketball. So we look forward to that coming up on Saturday night. Again, that's an 7:30 tip-off Arizona time coming up on Saturday. So we look forward to that one. All right, Coach, wanted to get to a couple questions here from fans in the audience. And Kirsten wanted to know about, and I'm going to try and roll this into two, and that is fouling. One, how to stay out of foul trouble. And number two, how do you draw fouls?
Oh, wow. Those are two great questions. The thing we want to play really physical, and it's something we work at constantly. But we talk about physicality, but a clean physicality. So figuring out, the legal ways you can be the most physical, and there's a lot of ways you can use your body and be extremely physical, as long as maybe your hands aren't involved in certain actions, guarding the ball and stuff like that. So we spend a bunch of time. On that individually. I try to talk to our guys, especially certain guys that maybe have a tendency to draw, or be in a lot of fouling situations. Can you get through your first run without a foul? If you can, say if you're a starter and you can get to that 16-minute media, without a foul, then there's a timeout. Now, there's 35 minutes or so left in the game, and you still have 5 fouls. So you just that you can work with them a little bit. And then if you can, get through the first half with only one foul, now you got 4 for 20 minutes in the second half. So just kind of having that mindset. But at the end of the day, I mean, you can't be scared to play defense, and if there is some fouling, it's just part of the game. And drawing fouls, I think you just have to have a persistence to, we talk all the time. We want to put our opponents in foul or surrender situations. They either surrender and give ground or give us a basket, or they foul us to stop us from that advantage. So, we spend a lot of time, focusing on that stuff, because I think that's an important and really undervalued part of the game that, maybe analytics hasn't quite caught up with yet. The analytics is kind of more driven on shots and turnovers, and I don't know how if the foul aspect of the game has been studied as much as it should.
Yeah, and it's in the box score every game. How many fouls each player has drawn during that game. So you can keep track of it. I think it's a good idea. Get that into the books there to take a look at. All right, no name on this one, but obviously one of the big things going against Alabama is their three-point shooting. They put up 57 in their last game. They average about 36 attempts a game. So the question is, how do you defense a team like that?
Well, I think it comes down to quality of shot. The one sneaky thing about Alabama is, they can get all their your attention focused on threes, and then they get a bunch of layups driving the ball to the basket. So, you just have to keep the bigger picture in mind. A 3-point shot's still only worth 3 points. I mean, it's not worth 6 or 8 or, so you just have to have that in mind, and you have to have a stick-to-itiveness, and obviously, quality of shot. If we're getting out and the guy maybe he's not a 40% 3-point shooter, and we're making him shoot an NBA contested 3, the percentages are probably in your favor, and then it comes down to getting the rebound and then taking advantage of that at the other end. So a team like that's they're gonna get some threes, and you just got to stay the course and make sure that you're not giving up a bunch of layups and free throws along with the threes.
Alabama's got 2 outstanding guards, but is it fair to say that they don't lean on those guys to shoot threes? It seems like it's spread throughout the team.
Yeah, I mean it's a team skill for sure. I mean those guys can shoot threes. There's no doubt about it. But those are also those 2 guys are their main penetrators. And one of the ways you get threes is you penetrate the defense. You create help. You create rotations, and then you find shooters. With great spacing. So they're masters at it, and we know it's going to present a ton of challenges. And hopefully Saturday night we're up for it.
All right, one other question about your team. Anthony Dell'Orso was at the press conference today, and one of the reporters asked him, what do you think your team, the Wildcats, need to improve upon? Is there something? And I thought he gave a great answer. He didn't specify anything. He said, look, we've got to work on everything. And I think you've kind of echoed that in the past, where every day everything's important, correct?
For sure, there's no doubt. I mean, it's never as simple as one thing. It would be nice if it was, but there's just too many moving parts in the game, and we focus a lot on rhythm and kind of identifying what rhythm is and what rhythm feels like, and how do we find our rhythm, what drives our rhythm. And we also respect the fact that you're not always going to have rhythm. So when you don't have it, you don't panic. Mm-hmm. And then you find ways to get it back. And to me, that's one of my focal points is, how do we find our rhythm? How do we find our rhythm on offense? How do we find our rhythm on defense and the transition game both ways? So, and Deli's doing a great job for us. I mean, he's playing a really, really important role. And I told Deli today, anytime your feet are set, close to that 3-point line, I want you to let it rip. I think that's something he can really add to us. Now he's a good all-around offensive player. I mean, he can also put the ball on the floor. His passing's really improved. He can get down there. He can make pull-ups. He can finish. He's obviously a great free throw shooter. But I would love to see him get a little more aggressive. It doesn't mean he needs to back it up and shoot crazy deep threes. But if his feet are ready and it's near the 3-point line, let it rip.
All right, Cats and the Crimson Tide, Saturday tonight, Union Public House. More with head coach Tommy Lloyd in a moment. This is Wildcat basketball from Arizona Sports Enterprises. All right, welcome back to the Tommy Lloyd Radio Show presented by West Coast Trial Lawyers. We're here on a Thursday night. Next week we'll be here on Wednesday, and then starting January 8th every Thursday through the end of the regular season. We invite you to come out and join us between 6 and 7 p.m. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight on our first show of the season. And by the way, we are the warm-up act tonight. Connie Brannick and Little House of Funk will be on stage here. But, Coach, you're kind of used to that. I mean, when Tom E. was spinning tunes, you were kind of the warm-up for Shaq, right?
Well, I don't think Tom E. was doing much. I think it was Mixmaster Mike.
He did all the work.
But I'm excited. You know, last year one of the things I was really impressed with was how talented the musicians were after our show. I mean, obviously we're a good warm-up act, and hopefully everyone sticks around and enjoys some great music.
All right, just a quick housekeeping note here. The Big 12 has gone from 20 to 18 games this year. It allows you to add a couple more non-conference games, something I think if I remember last season you talked about that the coaches were in favor of that. Now the expansion to 32 regular season games coming up very soon. Is that all good for college basketball?
Yeah, I think it's great. You know, I think, obviously the more games, the happier our players are. I mean, they enjoy that more than practice. So I'm excited. I'm excited to keep growing the games, and it's another opportunity for us probably to get hopefully another home game at McHale. And obviously we love playing at home for our fans, and so I'm excited to kind of see how the scheduling thing settles in. I think we're all trying to figure it out a little bit now. I like how our schedule's played out this year. And we're kind of just in the beginning stages of creating what we want to do for next year. But next year, we do have Maui, on the docket. So I kind of know we're going to kind of have to build around that. But I'm excited. Having the extra game, I think, will be a good thing.
And fans ask me this all the time, so I'll ask you just to remind us, what is the recruiting calendar right now on December 11th, and what takes place next?
For the most part right now, high school season's just starting. So we can go watch, high school games, when we get the opportunity to. You don't maybe get as much as opportunities as you would think, but our assistants are moving around, and then I'll get the odd off night here and there where I'll be able to go catch a game, especially up in Phoenix, and maybe pop over to LA real quick and stuff like that, the closer trips. But yeah, we're always evaluating. And the recruiting is kind of, changed so much the last couple of years that, we still have to finish this recruiting class, up. And so we have a couple guys we have our eyes on. And, and hopefully we can be fortunate enough to land a few more good future Wildcats.
All right, so before I forget, we're just asking about scheduling. I mentioned that game earlier, December 20th, San Diego State, a great opportunity in particular for the fans up in Phoenix that don't get to come down to Tucson all the time to see the Wildcats in person.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important for us to play a game up there. I mean, Phoenix is a great basketball town. There's obviously a ton of alumni up there, and I think it could be something really cool, even for our fans for Tucson. I know, it's a little inconvenient. It's a little easier to go there, but hey, I would love to kind of maybe create a tradition where we kind of do it before Christmas. People can go up there, do a little bit of Christmas shopping, go to a game, spend some time with some extended family, get a group of friends together. I mean, that type of stuff. So we're excited. We're excited to get up there and play for our fans up there.
And again, that's on December 20th at Mortgage Matchup Center, and you can get your tickets through Ticketmaster or by visiting HOFseries.com. That's Hall of Fame Series. One more segment with Coach, and then we'll tell you about our special guest when we come back. This is Wildcat Basketball from Arizona Sports Enterprises. All right, welcome back again to Union Public House, our first Tommy Lloyd radio show this season, and we're presented by West Coast Trial Lawyers. Great to have you along. All right, couple quick questions about the game Saturday, and then we'll talk about our special guest tonight. We talked about three-point shooting from Alabama earlier. Obviously, they're going to miss some shots. Rebounding is always important. How does that factor into this game in particular?
Well, rebounding's, it's one of the most important things, probably besides, taking care of the ball and creating turnovers here on your own. Rebounding's, probably impacts winning as much as anything. So super important. If you can get him to miss some threes and, you can track down some of those long rebounds, maybe you can kickstart your transition offense, there's a lot of sayings in basketball: long shot, long rebound. Long shot, long rebound, fast break. That type of thinking. Doesn't always hold true, but it's a good way. It's a good mindset to have. So yeah, it's something we work on every single day, and we really value rebounding. It's a part of our identity.
All right, Greg would like to know what uniforms you're going to wear on
I mean, you
Saturday.
have to ask Briggs. I mean,
Okay.
I have no idea what we're ever wearing. I couldn't tell you if a guy wears a headband, an arm sleeve, shoes he's wearing, or everything. And I just never kind of see that stuff. I just got to focus on the game.
Got it. Well, and that's a good thing. All right, we've got a special guest coming up here in a couple minutes. You know him very well. A.P. Duran, he's the Dean of the College of Humanities at the University of Arizona. First of all, tell us how you guys became acquainted and became friends and kind of worked together.
Well, I mean, it's gone back a few years, but I'm sure AP reached out to me, and he's a go-getter, and I really appreciate that about him. He's a connector of people. And he and I have connected and kind of, and been able to do a few things together, just getting people together maybe in different parts of campus that don't naturally cross paths. And that's really cool. I mean, I love being a part of a college. I always have, over the years. I mean, a lot of the friends, my past place I worked were professors, and, we had kids that played soccer together and things like that. I just think it's really cool, the vibe around a college campus. It's a young, energetic, exciting type of place. And people that are generally working, the adults that are working on the campus, have a growth mindset. Love the process of getting better and helping people. We're kind of all in it. We're all kind of doing different things, but the same version, a similar version of them. So I just think there's a lot of similarities, that maybe we don't get to explore enough. So I'm happy that our friends from Humanities are here today.
All right.
Some great friends.
Yep.
I see my friend Praise in the back over there. Praise is my Zimbabwean brother. He and I have done a really cool event, I don't know, the last 3 or 4 years where, the Africana Studies program and some people in our program and in our team, we all get together and we kind of do African Thanksgiving.
Wow.
Where it's kind of a potluck and people bring different foods from different cultures, and we did that a couple weeks ago, and it's so much fun, and then everyone gets to kind of tell their story, and I'll just say this: I'm just a basketball coach, and when you hear some of these kids and some of these adults tell their story, and it's pretty inspiring. So it's a great way to stay connected to the important things of life. I mean, I know what our team does seems important, that 2 hours, but in the grand scheme of things, it's probably not that important. It's just entertainment. But people are doing way more serious stuff out there, and it was really cool to see.
All right. Well, Coach, best of luck.
Thank you.
Great start to the season. We'll see you on Saturday.
Yep.
A.P. Duran coming up next. This is Wildcat Basketball from Arizona Sports Enterprises. All right. Welcome back to Union Public House, the Tommy Lloyd Radio Show presented by West Coast Trial Lawyers. We're pleased to have with us tonight A.P. Duran, Dean of the College of Humanities at the University of Arizona, great friend of the basketball program here. And I met him for the first time about an hour ago, and we found out we do have one thing in common. We both started our careers as a radio DJ.
That's right.
So AP, tell me about how you got into being on the radio.
Yeah, so I'm. In case you could not tell, I'm originally from France.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't just do the accent thing. But I was when I grew up and I was in France. I was really interested in DJing, especially. And so I had the opportunity to work for a FM radio station. So that's what I did before, when I was a student, in fact, before I came to the United States.
Okay. Rock and roll music? Or
yeah, it was a top 40 radio station. So
there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I could go on and on about the tremendous things that you've done with the program there at the University of Arizona, but tell us about when you arrived here initially and kind of how you grew to where you are now.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having us. It's a great honor. Well, the way I came to Arizona is kind of an interesting story, actually. It's because when I used to be in Rhode Island before I came to Arizona, and when I applied for the job here to come at the University of Arizona, I didn't know anything about the university, so I did Google University of Arizona, and the first thing that came up was a basketball, and it says, where were you on March 31st, 1997? And I was like, I know exactly where I was on March 31st, 1997. That's the night my daughter was born, my first daughter. And then I saw, this was the championship night for the U of A. So I was like, man, that's meant to be, that I would come to the U of A. So that's how I came here at Arizona. And one thing that is great about the University of Arizona, and that's what I really like about it and the reason why I came, is that it's a university that really value incredible partnerships and collaborations, interdisciplinary approaches. So in our college, in the humanities, we work with everybody. We like to say that the humanities are everywhere, and we have built a lot of very successful programs in collaboration with other units all over campus, including with athletics and with Coach Lloyd and the basketball team.
All right, so maybe you answered it, but I'll make it even simpler for those of us who need it simpler. I mean, what are humanities?
So the humanities is really the studying about who we are as human beings, the study of literatures, languages, and culture, other languages, other culture. It's about understanding people, where we come from, where we are going. And it's also really about some of what we research and teach as our skills and competencies that are actually the most in demand on the job market today. Things like critical thinking, adaptability, being a team player, talking about basketball, the communicating well, be able to collaborate, problem solving, creativity, curiosity. Those are the things that are very important no matter what you are doing, either if you are in professional sports or if you are in engineering or in business. In any of the areas, you need to have those skills.
Okay, so it sounds to me like humanities is important no matter what you want to go into. So you could major. I'm not going to name all the majors that you could be a part of, but humanities seems to feed into everything.
That's exactly right. Humanity feed in everything. It's everywhere. I highly recommend a lot of our students who are very successful are double majors. We have a lot of double majors and dual degrees. We also have a Bachelor of Arts in Applied Humanities that we do in collaboration with other colleges on campus, where you combine the study of the humanities with things like business, engineering, medicine, design, public health, all of those kind of things. And this is really, again, about this idea of combining things, being interdisciplinary and collaborative. And, we have had several of the basketball players who have actually been, studying in the college. We currently have some players as well, and some of our alumni. I just got fortunate to be able to attend the game against Denver recently, okay. And I could see, like right there, you have the two-shirt Steve Kerr and Sean Elliott, right? Two alumni from our college of humanities that are there and that have been studying with us. Or last year, Pele Larson, who graduated last year, he was a applied humanities major, and we have two current players, Mo Krivas and Jaden Bradley, are actually majoring in our college as well. Okay. So a lot of collaborations there.
Outstanding. You mentioned Steve Kerr. Steve and his wife Margot have endowed the humanities now with an outstanding gift. What will that go to? How will that help students ahead?
Yes, we are very grateful to Steve and Margot Kerr. Steve has been a great supporter and friend of the College of Humanities. He's one of our alumni. He studied general studies, which is now called interdisciplinary studies. And he's really, for him, study abroad is really important. That's one of the things that is really important for us, and is for the university as well. President Gary Mera announced this year that there is really an emphasis on increasing the opportunities for students to go study abroad. And so Steve and Margot Kerr decided to contribute a very significant gift. It's a $1 million gift to the College of Humanities that will support students in the College of Humanities to go study abroad, to have that experience, that transformative experience, to go study in another country. And it will help them because we need a lot of help. A lot of students, when you ask them, are you interested in going study abroad? Nobody says no, right? But a lot of them, they cannot go because they cannot afford it. And that's why we are so grateful to our alumni and to Steve and Margot Kerr and all of the other alumni in the college who really support us for that.
All right, so if I have a young student that's entering college for the first time as a freshman, what would you advise them in terms of humanities? Do they start immediately or is it something later?
Start as soon as possible. Don't leave the U of A without the humanities degrees. Okay. So you will be in good hands if you do that. And, and especially not even just like, even as a double major, but even if you are planning to go to graduate school, for instance, a lot of students are thinking about going to med school. That's also a very good thing to do. If you go, we work a lot with the College of Medicine, and one of the things that they ask for, there is this website where you go to if you plan to apply for medical schools, and it says the kind of students we are looking for, and the first bullet point said we need people who have an appreciation for the humanities.
Very good.
So it's really important to have that background.
I want to go back to basketball again, and you've got a couple of current players, as you mentioned, that are currently part of the college, but how do they relate? How does basketball and humanities relate?
Great question. There are so many connections. We are so fortunate to have such a great friend in Tommy Lloyd. Coach Lloyd has been a great supporter. And last year I asked him, and I was really grateful that he accepted to do that. Every year I do a all-day retreat for the department heads and directors of the college. And I asked him, would you come to talk about leadership? Would you do an hour on leadership as the basketball coach? And he was like, I would love to do that. And not only he did an hour, in fact, he did almost 2 hours. He was in there. And I have to say that not all of the heads and directors in the college would be necessarily, very knowledgeable about basketball or fan or basketball. But we were blown away after he was done talking about, leadership as a basketball coach and the type of issues that he has to face and he has to solve. So many similarities with what we do in terms of the humanities, like building a team, for instance. Okay. To be able to have this kind of synergy between the players, and how do you handle difficult situations that will come up during a season. It's the same for us in the humanities. If some people are not well in their own life, if there are things that are happening, all of those things, they have an impact on the performance, right? And that's kind of what we deal with in the humanities. I'm also a soccer fan in addition of basketball. And there is a famous coach that has talked about how, Arrigo Sacchi is his name, where he talked about, to have the best team possible. And Tommy Lloyd has talked about that as well. You don't just need to have the athleticism. You also need to have the thinking, the decision making, right? Mm-hmm. Just with the decision making, that's not going to be the best team. And just with the athleticism, it's not going to work either. You need to have those two things together. That's what we bring to the table in the humanities. Okay,
I have a feeling maybe that you could probably advise Coach on some game plans ahead.
No. I want Tommy to advise me how to get to number one, because he's number one.
He's number one.
I want our college to go to number one. So I want his help and his guidance to help us for that.
Well, I think you're on the way. So one other basketball question, and since you can help Coach and you gained this relationship here, play zone defense against Alabama or not? What do you think?
Well, I'm not sure, but I don't know if it's a good idea that I would give that kind of advice.
Okay, all right, just kidding. All right, you've written 6 books. All right, so anybody that would, give us an overview of what is out there right now and how it would benefit those of us who would read one.
Yeah, well, so those are more like academic books, but what I will say is that a lot of my books are about French literature. So if you're interested in reading, you can read that. Okay. I have also done books and collections about hip-hop. So hip-hop, in case people are interested in that, you may not know that France has the second largest market for hip-hop products in the world after the United States. Okay. It's the place in the world where after the US, hip-hop is the most popular. And there are many reasons for that. You can take our classes if you would like to know more about this. But then also I work most recently, my most recent edited volume is about the power of humanities in the entrepreneurial world and in the economy. And those things we were talking about, how those skills that we bring to the table are useful in anything that you do, regardless if it's professional basketball, business, law, engineering, whatever it is. You cannot go wrong if you have good communication skills, critical thinking, intercultural competence, compassion, and empathy. Very important.
All right. Fascinating. AP, love having you here. By the way, are there words in French for bear down?
Droit au but. Droit au but. That means straight to the goal. So
all right. There you go. All right.
Yes.
AP Duran from College of Humanities. Thank you, AP. Best of luck. Keep up the great work with your department.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Tommy. We really appreciate it.
All right. We're back to wrap it up in a moment. This is Wildcat Basketball from Arizona Sports Enterprises. All right, Tommy Lloyd radio show presented by West Coast Trial Lawyers. Our first show of the season. I want to thank everybody for coming out. We're back here next Wednesday from 6 to 7. We'll take our holiday break and then return on Thursday, January 8th, and then every Thursday starting January 8th through the end of the regular season. And if the weather's like this, which it normally is, we're going to be outside. It's a great place to hang out here on next Wednesday and then Thursday nights after the holidays. Couple of reminders, December 20th, that game up at Phoenix against San Diego State at Mortgage Matchup Center. Tip-off right around 8:30, second half of the doubleheader, Stanford and Cal in the first game. You can buy tickets through Ticketmaster or by visiting hofseries.com. Also, there's a holiday 4-pack for home games at McHale Center since the students will be out, of course, and that includes the home opener, the Big 12 home opener against Kansas State. So you can get your holiday pack through the McHale Center ticket office. You can get one ticket for each of the 4 games for a total of $60. That's $15 a game. And, of course, see one of the best teams in the country and one of the great places to watch it in McHale Center. So you can go to ArizonaWildcats.com/MBK or during regular business hours, call the McHale Center ticket office at 621-CATS and get your tickets for that holiday 4-pack to see the Cats at home coming up here in December and into early January. A reminder here in terms of what the immediate schedule for the Wildcats. They've got the game at Alabama on a Saturday. Well, it will be in Birmingham, of course. Again, tip-off at 7:30 Arizona time. Back home next Tuesday against Abilene Christian. That's a 7 o'clock tip-off at McHale Center. Then that game up in Phoenix on December 20th against San Diego State. Arizona also will have home games with Bethune-Cookman and South Dakota State before the I'll call it the New Year's break. They will open Big 12 play at Utah on Saturday afternoon, January 3rd. And again, that first Big 12 home game against Kansas State on January 7th. Thanks for coming out, everybody. Stay tuned. If you're going to be here tonight, hang out for Connie Brannick and the Little House of Funk. They're going to be on stage coming up in a few minutes. Appreciate it. Bear down, everybody, and we'll talk to you from Birmingham on Saturday.